It's going to be women's division action and two hot young stars on the rise making buzz. And Veda, with this matchup with both athletes, I think the key for them these past several months has certainly been momentum.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give a little bit of an edge to Heather Reckless tonight because she is Chicago proud. This is a hometown crowd for her. They're used to seeing her, and they are behind her, I'm sure, 100%. And, of course, this is an offering from Women's Wrestling Army. You're going to want to check that out on social media, as well as all the Warrior Wrestling socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Please follow us everywhere.
WarriorWrestling.net for all the hot news. As we are about to meet the opponent of Heather Reckless in this one-on-one opening bout.
Well, Joe, you see it right there, the Lucha Baddie. And although I said that I thought that Heather Reckless would have the crowd behind her, Miranda Alize doesn't care who she has behind her.
The Lucha Baddie.
Well, what I think makes Miranda Alize so dangerous is that hybrid style. She lived in Mexico for a number of years, training there. She's competed throughout the United States, certainly Shimmer on down, Stardom in Japan. There's really nothing that Miranda can't do.
If she takes on anyone, anywhere, and like you said, Joe, that is what makes her so dangerous. She also has the experience edge on Heather Reckless as well.
Studied under Booker T for a time, from what I understand. We've seen both these athletes on AEW Dark. We saw Miranda as a part of the Ring of Honor Women's Championship Tournament in the recent past, as the bell officially sounds underway. And I think the women's division here in Warrior Wrestling is certainly, in my estimation, pretty up in the air, because we saw the retirement from independent wrestling of Thunder Rosa a number of months ago, and Athena has really ascended to that throne in a major way. The one athlete that Thunder Rosa couldn't beat in her reign, and now when it comes to the contenders list, we've seen, unfortunately, I'm sorry for saying this name so early and ruining the mood, Frank the Clown involve himself and signed to some one-day contracts, you know, spend as little money as possible to try to get the likes of AKA and Janai Kai, and they were unsuccessful. Many would say because of Frank. Where do you stand on that issue?
Well, I think that Frank is his own worst enemy, as well as everyone's worst enemy. But I have to imagine that, and I will say this to his credit, Frank the Clown is extremely calculating. You have to imagine he is watching matches like this, like Miranda Alize versus Heather Reckless, to look for his next client to sign to one of these one-night Athena bounty contracts.
Yeah.
Because Athena isn't here. Athena is not here tonight. And the contendership for her title is really up for grabs at this point.
Maybe because Athena's not here. Maybe Frank the Clown's out stalking her. Have you seen social media? It seems every time Athena pops up in AEW, whether it's in Las Vegas, whether it's all over, Frank's in the front row posting videos and chastising her. What's wrong with him?
I don't know. I have a feeling he could be lurking somewhere here as well. He's everywhere and he's nowhere at once.
He's one of those kind of people, when he's around, he just kind of break out in hives in senses.
If I'm Frank the Clown, though, and I am watching this match, I am definitely thinking that there is potential here for someone to take on our women's champion. Right now, at Miranda Alize with the advantage, but Heather Reckless trying to trip her up.
Well, I think Heather Reckless has always been a bit of an overachiever. And you can tell by her stature, she's never the tallest, she's never the biggest, but she brings a lot of heart and a lot of energy and a lot of determination. She calls herself the devil's little princess. So certainly there is an evil and a mischievous side underneath what might be a little bit of an unassuming exterior if you don't know Heather that well.
Ooh, reverse head scissors. And I spoke to Heather earlier today, and she was very sweet about it, but she said, you know, my name is Reckless, and that means I'm reckless with my body, so I don't care what happens to yours. And that is dark and threatening, and we're seeing it right now.
And with that comes a fearlessness in how she competes, and the fact that you really don't know what to prepare for, because Heather could pull off things like this.
Yeah, you're seeing a high-risk cross-body right into a cover. And Miranda, okay, there's that this is where I would say that veteran smart is coming in, because Miranda almost got pinned there for the 3 count, and instead of staying in the ring, has rolled to the outside, giving herself, she said timeout, giving herself a little bit of a break here.
Yeah, and Miranda, I mean, she beelined out of that ring, practically rammed her own body into the guardrail. So I think Miranda could sense some impending doom. And to your point, she is well seasoned in all different styles and knew to get out of harm's way, but the chase is on. Heather Reckless does not want to give up that momentum. And Miranda, being elusive yet abusive, through the ropes. And if the boot wasn't bad enough, the landing made it all that worse.
Miranda Alize. I wasn't sure. I was waiting to see if she was going to bring Heather back into the ring, and absolutely not. She's taking the fight to the outside now, using the guardrails as a weapon. And
if you notice, Veda, Heather was sent sternum first into the top of that guardrail, and I think more so than anything else, that's going to affect the breathing of Heather Reckless, which, you know, with the breathing comes, you know, so many other things with that. I mean, your speed, your mobility, your ability to even, you know, fight back.
Oh!
Hard shot.
And as much as Heather Reckless talked about how she is reckless with her safety in her body, Miranda Alize is scrappy. You said she's trained in Mexico, she's fought all over the world, and I would think that this is someplace that she feels very at home. She brought the fight to the outside, and now she is taking it to Heather Reckless. Oh my goodness.
Well, I think one of Miranda's biggest gifts, biggest perks, and what she brings is that just unbridled physicality and some confidence as well. A little Barry Horowitz pat on the back, perhaps. As referee keeping mindful of the count. And that was an impact that you couldn't just hear but feel throughout this gymnasium.
And truly, it's not often we see matches end in a count out here in Warrior, but at this point, like, they are really playing with the count here, and they seem more than happy to keep the fight on the outside.
Well, I like the fact that the referees have leeway here, and if there's a way to have a decisive winner and loser, that's what we're going to give you. But, you know, you're right. Sometimes you have to draw that line. We saw, wait, there's a cover here from Miranda. Heather.
Well, yeah, Miranda dumped Heather back in the ring and went for a cover.
Remember, a few months ago, we saw count out in one of the Lucha Championship matchups. I believe that was Sam Adonis and Lince Dorado. And that was, in the eyes of many, by design of Sam Adonis, as a way to protect that championship. So, you know, it's not without precedence here in Warrior Wrestling, but certainly we're giving you everything we can to make sure we have definitive conclusions to these matchups in such a historic, again, wrestling weekend. We have a packed crowd here in the Malcolm X College. Packed crowd will be across the street in the United Center tonight for a pay-per-view, but forget about those other doorways, because we stepped through that prohibited threshold to give you Warrior 24 live on pay-per-view.
Heather Reckless rolling through.
That's that nimble nature, but man, Miranda with a clubbing blow right to the back of the head.
For the past 5 minutes or so, every time that Heather Reckless has managed to create even a small opening for herself, Miranda Alize has just slammed it shut as soon as possible. So dominant.
Yeah, and with that experience comes that resourcefulness.
And you know, we mentioned Frank the Clown scouting, but if I'm Athena, if I'm the Warrior Women's Champion, I have eyes on matches like this too, because you have to imagine that with showings like this, it is only a matter of time before we see someone like Miranda Alize challenging for the Warrior Women's Championship. Oh no, she's got Heather's finger in that turnbuckle, and it was trapped, and Miranda, it looked like she just stomped on her fingertip. Joe, you know what it's like if you get your finger, you know, stuck in a door or something like that.
Oh yeah. And that's a pain that stays with you for the duration. There's a deep hook of both legs. And Miranda getting a little impatient with the official. You know, it only takes 1 or 2 wins sometimes to really make your way here in Warrior, or 1 or 2 losses before it's a long time before we see you again. It's such a competitive field, and Veda, well, Miranda hung up on that top ring cable. You know, you've been here all afternoon, as have I. We've had some special bonus matchups, courtesy of the Women's Wrestling Army.
Yes.
Bobby Cruz and Maria Kanellis here, and presiding over many of that. So you know, Veda, there's a lot of hungry young talent who would love to have these spots right here.
Miranda was going for a slingshot, and Heather Reckless met her, and then a code breaker off the ropes.
And did you see the landing of Miranda? Very awkward. Almost, you know, landed the top of her body face and head first. There was no way she could brace her fall or her landing.
But Joe, as you mentioned, we filmed some matches for Women's Wrestling Army prior to this show. You're seeing a sampling of it right now live on Fight. But for the rest of that content, you're going to want to check out Women's Wrestling Army, subscribe, and watch all of it.
Yeah, and all of those athletes were hungry and determined because they're thinking to themselves, why isn't it me wrestling Miranda? Why isn't it me wrestling Heather? And they wanted to prove something, and I feel like we're going to see a number of those athletes on a lot of the future Warrior Wrestling pay-per-views moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that Chicago is women's wrestling territory. And right now it's Miranda Alize territory, 100%.
And Heather Reckless keeps up with Miranda. I think Reckless would have a speed advantage. Miranda tries to switch directions, that caught with the back elbow.
And you notice that Heather Reckless, she ricochets off the middle rope, Rey Mysterio style, really using her height to an advantage. Or her lack of height, I should say. Oh, Miranda got caught. Oh, backdrop driver with the leg trap.
Yeah, unique and innovative. We can see that urgency on the face of Heather Reckless. Last time we saw Miranda here, it was against Sky Blue, another Chicago native, at Warrior 19. Miranda would love to be more consistent, but it comes down to the wins. We'll see if Heather Reckless can rally.
Whoa.
Submission attempt. And Veda, check out that ring positioning.
Yes, Miranda is positioned in the middle of the ring. Our official is checking on her. Miranda is dragging herself by the elbows to try to get to the ropes.
And debating tapping the whole way. Can she make it in time before the body gives out? Just barely. And Heather making liberal use of the 5 count.
Heather Reckless, she looks a little frustrated, and so many times, Joe, you've seen it. That's where things can fall apart for you. If you let your emotions get ahead of you, you're going to miss something like the Lucha Baddie coming out with a rake to the eyes and a ripcord into a huge knee. Oh, Heather's out on her feet.
Yeah. Miranda looking to take advantage. Oh, man. Came up with a knee, and Heather Reckless.
She has gone to sleep.
Just, collapses, and no, it's not enough. And Miranda may be the most shocked individual in the entire building.
Oh, Miranda, I'm right there with you. I'm making that same face here on commentary. I thought that was it for sure, and now Miranda Alize rolling into a crossface submission.
That's the Miranda Rights. Miranda Rights cinched in, and again, the ring positioning is key. Heather has no, rolls her over. Oh, shoulders were trapped for 2 and change. And Heather with a stunner. Miranda, lucha pass designed to build momentum to capitalize potentially like this, countering the Tijeras. Ouch. But couldn't counter the counter. Miranda landed high.
Yeah, they went back and forth, and eventually Miranda was just planted.
Right in her neck, it looked like, right?
Yeah, Heather Reckless, though, not satisfied with that. She's going up top again, moonsault, but it didn't connect.
Now, did it take too long to set up to get Miranda in position? Neckbreaker connects, and you can see that ferocity on the face of the Lucha Baddie. Caught Heather in the side of the head with a knee. And now, back to the Miranda Rights. Heather, no choice but a tap.
Your winner of the match, by submission, Miranda Alize!
Well, as Miranda enjoys her spoils, and the fans chanting for the Lucha Baddie.